Hello, fellow Nigerians. This is Israel Ritakiwebo, and with God's will, Nwankwa. I am from Delta State in Nigeria, and God's will is from Abia State, also in Nigeria. We both live in Houston, Texas. Good friends, and we are professional in our field. We're here this evening to share a little light into the decision that Nigerians will be making on Saturday regarding the election of the Nigerian president that will take and run the affairs of the country for another 4 years, as well as the federal uh, House of Rep and the Senate. Our focus is strictly going to be on the presidency. The others who believe Nigerians will make the right decision as they deem fit. So today we're going to talk about the choices or the choice before the Nigerian electorate on Saturday, which at the moment is primarily between the two main political parties prior to now, which is PDP and APC, as well as the new generation and the future bearers of Nigeria, including the person of Omoyele Sowore of AAC and uh, Mogalu also. So I'm here with Goswill, and we're going to talk briefly about some of the consequences or implications of the decision that Nigerians will be making on Saturday. So at this point, I will yield to Goswill, and we're going to be taking point by point, and hopefully we'll cover the points we intend to cover within the short spectrum of time we have.
Okay, so thank you very much for the segue. So my name is Godswill. Kind of a little bit, so we are professionals, engineering. So we're fortunate to have schooled in Nigeria when the system was functional. Um, those of us that we are paying attention to the news story last couple of weeks, we observed something very serious that was happening here in the United States. They had a situation where the government was shut down. The government was shut down due to inability to fulfill their debt obligations, and it was taken seriously. They were taking. This is a very serious situation when a government is not able to fulfill their debt obligation, when they're not able to fund the day-to-day operations. What happens is that, because they need line of credit and all that, I'm not going to go into details of that, but what happens is that the credit risk or the risk of that entity or that country becomes really, really high. Cost of borrowing, cost of capital becomes really, really high. And when you say cost of capital, it means that typically for every $1 you borrow, you might have to pay an interest of, let's say, 3 cents, like in the bank. But if the bank begins to see you as a credit risk, begin to see you as not being able to fulfill your debt obligation, not being able to, then your cost of capital, the cost of borrowing becomes really high. It goes from maybe 3 to maybe 5 to 10%, depending on how risky you are. So what I'm trying to say is this. So boiling it down to extrapolating it to the Nigerian situation, um, the country risk of Nigeria is in the balance right now. Other countries like the US take it very seriously. They take it very seriously and they maintain their credit risk and try to make sure that they stay as investment grade as possible. That is part of a country's value. Those of us that are here in the United States, we're aware of what it means to have a good credit history. Because if you have a good credit history, you find yourself the limitless opportunities. You can have access to credit, you can have access to funding, finance, you can do whatever you want, buy a house, invest, borrow money, do whatever, start a business, grow opportunities. So the problem now is this, is that country risk is a function of, one, your ability to pay your debt obligation, two, the monetary and fiscal policy of that country, three, the social and political situations in that country. As a matter of fact, when you look at how they weighted these various components of the country risk, of the credit history, the political situation, the political and the social economic situation weighs heavily for a country in terms of how much credit, what their credit risk is. And you have organizations like the Moody, the Standard & Poor, S&P, Fitch. These are the people that rate the countries. And right now, why you have so many countries that are triple B, that are investment grade, because triple B is an investment grade. Nigeria is below investment grade. Nigeria is actually what you call a junk grade. And being junk grade, you are more like, just imagine somebody in the United States, you don't have, your credit history is crap, like your credit history is like 200.
Zero.
You might as well just pack up and go back to Africa, because you can't do anything with that kind of. So now we are living in an interconnected world, interconnected social, political, and financial system, where countries will have to assess line of credit, assess resources in a global sense. And if your credit risk is so high that you're junk, then you have to do something. It's more like on life support. So the question now is this: are we going to still vote the APC and the PDP that have kept us in this junk grade for this long? Or are we going to do something about it and bring in fresh ideas, bring in somebody like the AAC Sowore that would get us out of this junk bond and put us in investment grade, so that we can have opportunities like every other country that is investment grade? So, and I was talking to my brother here a couple of minutes ago. I said, just look at it this way. Look at it that you have a Super Bowl. For those of us that are in the West, you have a Super Bowl, and Saturday is the final, is the Super Bowl, game. Who would you want to be your quarterback? Do you want to have a quarterback that spends 50% of his time in the emergency room or in some other country taking health treatment, and has completely plundered the country and gone into this whole chaotic Fulani herdsmen situation with the country? Or will you even go back when you have a PDP leadership that somebody, article that had, when he was with Obasanjo, they completely, plundered the country and took Nigeria down the path of financial distress? Or are you going to have a quarterback that will give you the best chance of winning the Super Bowl? Because right now, this is the Super Bowl. There is no second place. There's no second prize. The winner, whichever result that comes out on Saturday is a result that you stick with for the next 4 years. And just one last comment I have to make is that that's what we call null hypothesis. A null hypothesis is a hypothesis whereby you look at a particular fact, and you test it. And after you test it using your confidence interval and all that, and p-test and t-test, after you do your testing, depending on your confidence interval, you can now determine if you can reject the null hypothesis or you can accept the null hypothesis. Now, what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is this: the null hypothesis, because we're not going to use the APC, which is Buhari, because we already know what they are, what they've done. We've seen their track record. We've seen their ability. There's nothing new. We've seen their playbook as far as the with football terms. We've seen their playbook. We've seen everything what they have to give. So for APs, for Buhari, forget about null hypothesis. For Atiku, we've seen their playbook. We've seen what they can do. Forget about null hypothesis. Now let's look at Sowore null hypothesis. In null hypothesis, there's what they call type 1 and type 2 error. And type 1 error is when your null hypothesis is true and you reject the null hypothesis. That is type 1 error. That is, if you say null hypothesis is Sowore is going to be a good president and you reject that hypothesis. And then you look at a type 2 error, which is Sowore, which is you accept the alternative hypothesis, which is the 1 minus null, and you have a type 2 error. So now you have two errors, the type 1 and the type 2 error. The question you ask yourself is this: the type 2 error, which is Sowore is not going to be a good president. So if you accept that fact that he's not going to be a good president, you still accept it. And okay, that's an error. Error 2, you accept the fact that he's, meanwhile, he's not going to be a good president, you accept that. But you have a type 1 error, which is if he's going to be a good president and you reject that hypothesis. Researchers have come to the conclusion that the worst kind of error you want to make is a type 1 error. Not a type 2 error, no, a type 1 error. Because a type 2 error is something you can live with. But a type 1 error is devastated. You pay for it dearly. So now, what am I talking about? The type 1 error is what we cannot afford to make when it comes to Saturday's election. The hypothesis is that Sowore is going to be a good president. And the best thing we can do, not to make the error, is to accept that hypothesis. Because if we fail to accept that hypothesis, if we reject that hypothesis and make a type 1 error, then that becomes very devastating. That becomes very devastating. So that's just where I want to leave it at now. Think about it and make a good choice, because right now there's no second prize. There's no this is the Super Bowl. You don't have any. There are no do-overs. So we've got to get it right. And I'll hand over to my brother here.
Yes. Thank you, Goswell. I will do my best to try to break what Goswell has just said into a level that we will understand. We the common man. What he's trying to say in a nutshell is, given what we know by the performance of PDP and APC since this republic that started in 1999 from Obasanjo's time, we have seen that 16 years of PDP has taken us nowhere. We have also seen that the 4 years, although small, of APC has equally not done us any better. People will say 4 years is not enough to make significant change, and I will agree with you. However, if you spend 4 years and you start to build a foundation upon which a structure can stand and sustain the economy in the near future, we will have the belief that we are in the right direction. I'm not trying to say Buhari has not done good. He has done the little he can do with his ability. But my point is, Nigeria at this moment needs a 24/7 capable leader. A leader that will burn the midnight oil and will be ready to answer any critical call at any hour of the day. So the point Goswell just made is, at this point in Nigeria, Are we willing to give a chance to a new set of ideas, new set of energetic younger generation to contribute all their energy in nation building to achieve a Nigeria that will work for the powerless, the voiceless, the common man in the street, and not the Nigerian that will work for just the top half or 1% of Nigerians who have continued to rob the masses of what belongs to them. And that is the argument. That is the question we're posing out to all Nigerians. Do a self-check. We are not talking to the staunch PDP or APC supporters or politicians who are benefiting from the system at the expense of the masses. We are talking to the young generation, the youth of Nigeria, the graduates who are jobless, who are riding Okada, Keke Napep, and all kind of non-productive related day jobs in Nigeria. We want you to understand and recognize that you have the power and you have the will, you have the energy and what it takes to contribute your maximum to the development of Nigeria as a youth. Borrow a leaf from Obasanjo when he became prominent in Nigerian political affairs or leadership affairs. Borrow a leaf from when Gowon became a president. They were under 30 years of age, if I'm not making a mistake. But today, there is no under 30 years of age youth in Nigeria that is in any leadership position in terms of the governance of the country. Meaning they have no contribution, they have no idea, they have no say in their future. And this is got to stop. And the only opportunity we have is this Saturday election. Let's give a younger generation opportunity to contribute. And this younger generation, which we're talking about, is the person of Omoyele Sowore, who has experienced life and played a vital role in the fight for democracy, in the sustenance of democracy, and the continued effort to make sure Nigeria is built on a solid base that works for all. He has seen it here in the US. We have all seen it here. And I tell you what, we are envious of what is on here and would like to extend or borrow a leaf from that. And at least we are copying the American democracy. For Christ's sake, why can't we copy the good things that makes America great, that makes all of us want to leave Nigeria and come to America? It is doable. They are human beings with blood in their body that made this system, and they continue to perfect it year in, year out. Why can't we just pause for a while and make it a rethink of how we are doing business in Nigeria, how we are pushing things in Nigeria, to factor in the role of the common man who is hopeless, who is visionless, who is powerless, and who has been deprived of everything that makes life sensible and enjoyable. That is why some of us are coming up. Some of us who are professionals, who are non-political or non-politicians, are coming up to give that voice to the voiceless and give that power to the powerless, to make sure that the children of Nigeria, the young ones, they have equal opportunity to education, equal opportunity to gainful employment, equal opportunity to industrialization, equal opportunity for continuous and sustainable energy supply to homes and industries. And that will be the bedrock for Nigerian industrialization and growth. So we are asking this time that all youths in Nigeria, please, when you sleep in your bed, have a rethink. You may have one godfather here, godfather there, godfather there that is giving you 5,000, 10,000, buying you things you think you are enjoying. Ask yourself, what examples are our children learning since 1999 when this republic started? If you ask some children in the street, they will tell you, ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? Say, I want to be a senator. They don't want to be a senator because senator is the best job in town. They want to be a senator because they are the people riding the big cars. And nobody cares to address the reason why they are driving big cars. While all others are suffering, tattered, no roads, they buy big cars and drive them through mud roads. So that's why the children are saying, I want to be a senator, I want to be a politician. And we have started turning the value of our people off from what is moral to what is immoral. We are now turning the value table to praising and applauding corruption. We are applauding, aiding and abetting depravity. These are bad examples, and we must stop setting these examples. I'll give credit to Buhari for the little he has done in terms of corruption, the fight against corruption. We understand the anonymity of fighting corruption. But what we are asking is, Buhari, you should be a patron. You should be a grand advisor to the younger and energetic generation on how you think corruption can be fought and won, and how the country can be secured and peace can prevail. And let these younger and energetic ones pursue those with vigor. Please, we know it is difficult, but my appeal or our appeal goes to the Nigerian youth and also the elite. It is high time we do the needful. Governance is like a relay. When you run your lap, you handle the baton to the next energetic runner to maintain the steam of the race so that we can get to the finishing line successfully. But when you want no continuity, you want people who are weak to run a relay, we're going to continue to be in the last end. And we may never get to the finish line. So our appeal is, please, the youth, power belongs to you. You are the people describing the Constitution and the definition of democracy. When we say it's a government of the people, for the people, by the people, you are the people, and you can make the change that we're asking by your PVC. Thank God, Buhari has indicated, at least in the public light, his sheer determination to protect votes, to mitigate the risk of ballot box snatching. We hope he means what he's saying, and this, we believe, will give opportunity for everybody's vote to count. So please tell your friend, tell your sister, tell your mom, your parents, educate everybody in your circle that this Saturday matters, and the vote you cast will determine and shape our future for at least the next 4 years. That is our ask in this segment, and we hope that Nigerians will do the needful and give the young ones the opportunity to make humongous impact in the direction of Nigeria's future, because the future belongs to the younger ones. So let's not deny them. Let us give them the free hand to operate and contribute to nation building. That is our ask. Thank you very much.